Today we're going to divide 3-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers. When we multiply, we are going to use a series of 4 steps every single time. We're going to divide, we're going to multiply, subtract, then we're going to bring down. You can print out the sheet for whenever you do division problems. So, first step is to divide. So I see here I have 150 divided by 40. So I got to divide. So we have to divide every single number. So 1 divided by 40 is 0. So 15 divided by 40 is 0. So now we go to the next number. We have a 0. I'm going to add that to the 15. So now the new number is 150. Now 150 divided by 40, let's see what that's going to be. Let's say I don't know my 40 times tables. So I do know my 4 times table. So let's see. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. So let's see. If I put a 0 here, this becomes 80. If I put a 0 here, this becomes 120. If I put a 0 here, this becomes 160. So the one that's closest to it is 40 times 3, which is 120, because I can't do 40 times 4 because that's too big. It gives us 160. So I'm going to put my 3 here. So now I'm going to multiply. So 3 times 40 is 120. The next step is to subtract. So minus 120. I can erase all this because I don't need this now. So 0 minus 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. So 40 can't go into 30, so we're done. So 30 is going to be our remainder. So our final answer is going to be 3 remainder 30. Let's do 20 into 150. Okay, so remember the steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So I got to divide every number in this problem. So 1 divided by 20 is 0. The new number is now 150. So 15 divided by 20 is 0. The new number now is 150. So let's see, how many times can 20 go into 150? Well, I can estimate. I could do 20 times 5. That gives me 100. Let's see, 20 times 8 is 160. That's too big. I could try 20 times 7. That's 140. So 20 times 7, which is 140, will work. So I'm going to put 7 here. Now, after we divide, we have to multiply. 7 times 20 is 140. Next, we have to subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we are left with 10. 20 can't go into 10, so that's going to be our remainder. So our final answer is 7 remainder 10. Let's do 17 into 205. Okay, so again, we have to divide every number. So 17 into 2 is 0. 17 into 20 we can do. 17 can go into 20 one time. So 1 times 17. So let me write out my steps. So DMSB, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So we are in multiplying. So 1 times 17 is 17. Next, I have to subtract. So 20 minus 17 is 3. So I did subtraction. Now I have to bring down. I'm going to bring down the 5. So now I start all over with the steps of division. And the first step is to divide. So 35 divided by 17 is 2. How do I know? I did that in my head. So if I write it out, 17 times 1 is 17. And then 17 times 2, that's going to give me 14. Carry the 1, that's 3. 17 times 3 would be too big. So I did my division. I put the 2 there. 17 into 35 is 2. So now I have to multiply. 2 times 17 is 34. Now I have to subtract. And then 5 minus 4 is 1. And 3 minus 3 is 0. 17 cannot go into 1. So that's going to be our remainder. So our final answer is 12 remainder 1. So I didn't circle the 0 because we don't need to circle the 0. Let's do another one. So I'm going to write divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 32 into 501. So we got to divide. So we have to divide every number. So 32 into 5 is 0. 32 into 50 is 1. How do I know that? Because 32 times 1 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. And 64 is too big. So I have to use 32 times 1. So next I'm going to multiply. 1 times 32. Next, subtract. So 50 minus 32 is 18. Next, I have to bring down. So bring down the 1. So I have 181. So now I have to do some estimating. So let's see. 32 times, let's try 32 times 6. So 32 times 6 gives me 12, carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 1 is 192. So that's too big. So it's going to be 32 times 5. Let's see what 32 times 5 is. 32 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. Then 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. So 32 times 5 will work because it's 160. 32 times 6 won't work because 192 is too big. So I divided. So we said it's going to be 5. Then 5 times 32, we found out was 160. Then we're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So our remainder is going to be 21 because 32 cannot go into 21. So remainder 21. So our final answer is 15, remainder 21. Let's do, first let me write my divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Let's do 32 into 783. So let's divide. So D. So we have to divide every number. So the first number we have to divide is 7. So 7 divided by 32 we can't do. So we're going to put a 0. The new number is now 78. So now we have to do our estimating. So 32 times 1 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. 32 times 3 is 96. So 32 times 3 is too big, so we're going to use 32 times 2. I'm going to put a 2 here. So we divided. Now we have to multiply. So 2 times 32 is 64. Now we have to subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. And 7 minus 6 is 1. Now we have to bring down. Yeah, let's just. So we have 143. So now we have to see how many times can 32 go into 143 because we are up to divide. So let's see. So 32 times 5 is, let's see, 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, 15 plus 1 is 16. So that's 160, it's too big. It's probably going to be 32 times 4. So 32 times 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So we get 128. So it's going to be 4 because 32 times 5 is too big. So we're going to put our 4 up here, and then 4 times 32 is 128. Okay, so we're going to now subtract. So 3 minus 8, 3 minus 2. So our remainder is going to be 15 because 32 cannot go into 15. So that our remainder is 15. So the final answer is 24, remainder 15. So do some more on your own. Ask your teacher to help you with it. You can use a calculator if you have some trouble with the estimation. Good luck.